Hi everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Maor and I'm right now in Ecuador teaching my breatharian initiation to 40 amazing light workers. I am a breatharian or pranic living initiate guide and a consciousness expansion explorer, if one might say. Today's video is about blessing our food. First, most of us know that the component of water can actually retain the energy of the way we feel. So today's topic is why should we bless our food? First, let's look at all the ancient religions, or all religions today. Most of them are about bringing gratitude to the food. We're not even aware of why we do that, but apparently the molecules of water inside the food change according to the way we feel. You're probably aware of the different experiments that they did on rice and human consciousness, putting jars of rice, ready rice, with one of them on love, one of them said fear, one of them said I hate you, and they saw how people react to them, and over time they saw how the rice itself changes. There were different experiments around the world that when water has been frozen and water has been played different sounds, for example Mozart or heavy metal, they look differently. Every one of the water crystals that were formed, which is actually the cluster of water, because water is not just like the basic molecule of water is H2O, but the water resides in clusters, sort of like snowflake clusters if the water is really, really good. And the type of water that most of us drink today, tap water, or even mineral water that has been in a plastic bottle for a very, very long time, is not structured water. The structured water is what we want to change. The structured water is what has the potential to become the best for the body itself. This is something that was known in ancient times, and this is why in most major religions they ask you to bless the food or show gratitude to God or to the Creator, whoever brought the food to the table. And that means that the energy of the people, the gratitude of the people, is actually going into the vibration of the water inside the food. So it's the water itself that's changing. Water is an amazing entity. Whoever tells you that water is still, water doesn't feel or anything like that, it just doesn't know what he's talking about. Water is so genius that it's heaviest at 4 degrees Celsius. And the reason for that is because the glaciers float, sort of like ice floats inside your drink. Same thing, the glaciers float. And if water, when it's most condensed, meaning ice, wouldn't float, the whole world system would change and collapse probably, meaning the glaciers would actually sink and the water will actually rise and we'll have a whole catastrophe. That's just one thing. The second thing is distilled water. Water, just like in nature, is cleaned up when it goes up. What do I mean? It means that the rays of sun heat them, and then they come up in fumes and take nothing with them. Not the calcium, they don't take the heavy metals with them. Pure H2O goes up into the clouds. Now that's the natural way. Obviously with humanity and with pollution and the ground being polluted a little bit, so when the water comes down in a form of rain, sometimes you have a little bit of acidity, sometimes you have a little bit of toxicity and stuff like that. But water as it is genius. Water just replaces, it gives different information, it travels and bringing in information. Scientists have discovered that a single drop of water has 124,000 memory clusters, meaning it remembers where it was, it remembers the area, it remembers the energy that's next to it. Imagine sort of like a magnet that is sitting next to a magnet. So if you take 2 water clusters and they're not even touching, they're just close to each other, they actually begin acting like one another. We begin seeing that they change. So again, there's nothing in between, they're not touching each other, they're actually changing each other. So that's how much influence you have on your food. Now obviously if you're not practicing mindfulness, and most of the time when you eat in front of the television, or you eat and you have a conversation while you're eating and you're not really thinking, or you're eating just for the fuel and not for the pleasure, then you kind of like forget and neglect it, and you're just not making the best of your food. The food is probably nutritious for you as well, but you're just not making the best of it. If you take 2 seconds, it doesn't have to look too weird with your friends, with your family, just take 2 seconds and bless the food that you're going to eat. You can bless the food of and you can bless all of the food on the table. All of your friends, all of your families. The Creator really loves it when we love other people and when we try to bless them as well. So take those 2 seconds. If you're hanging out with conscious people in a conscious partnership, then you can both do it together, and that's even more powerful. Take 2 seconds, just put your hands have the best amount of chi receptors. Put your hands, just like with healers, and heal the water in your food. You do not know where that water came from. If it came from the system that we have right now, it's not necessarily the best water in the world. It doesn't matter if you cooked with bottled water as well. I really recommend distilled water. Other people take it even further, crystallize it, vortex it. There's different ways of activating water, but the water component is alive in your food. So again, this is the reason why we bless our food. And this is the reason why we should always bless our food. For example, before I drink something, I smell it. Even if it's water, I smell it, and that reminds me, I have anchored myself with NLP, that reminds me to enjoy it, to bless it, to taste it. Even tasting it with my eyes closed is so different than tasting something with my eyes open. So my friends, thank you very much for watching me. My name is Maor, and if you like this video, please like it down here or share it on your Facebook. You can come and join one of my workshops at www.raymaor.com.